This video shows how to do video animation using keyframes. The video editor that I use is Cyberlink PowerDirector 15, but similar techniques can be done with most other video editors. Let's have a look at some examples of what's possible. Firstly, some animated watch faces. Now the logo sequence for the Sambusters of Groove. Let's see that again, this time not superimposed on the camera footage. I'm going to talk about this logo animation first. It's made up from two basic frames. This one is the band's normal circular logo used on t-shirts, etc. From this, using a photo editing program, I produced the basic central drum motif and separately the letters that go around the outside. The second basic frame has the letters in a straight line with the central motif now off to the right hand side and slightly smaller than before. Now let's look at the logo animation sequence again, this time slowed down considerably. Initially, the circular logo increases in size from the screen center. After a brief pause, it starts to rotate and the letters appear to fly off, leaving just the spinning central motif. This moves off to the right and shrinks in size slightly. As it reaches the right-hand side, the letters reappear in a seemingly random manner, but quickly coalesce into the band's name in a straight-line format. Finally, this translates upwards and reduces in size to give space for the title information in the lower half of the frame. I'm going to show how part of this is done, just the animation of the central motif, which looks like this when taken by itself. But first, let's have a look at the editor screen where all this is controlled from. It's called the PIP designer. PIP means picture in picture, and it's summoned by double-clicking on a clip in the timeline or from the designer menu option. There are three main areas. First is the preview screen. This area is where the object settings are changed. And finally, there's the keyframe timeline display, where you manage the times that the attributes change. Between keyframes, the changes are interpolated nominally in a linear fashion. Let's have a look at the object settings. At the top, the X and Y position of the frame can be changed. Making the X value lower moves the frame to the left, while making Y lower moves the frame upwards. This area controls the scale or size of the frame. Usually you'll leave the Maintain Aspect Ratio checkbox ticked, so you only need to alter one of these values. The other will automatically follow to keep the same relative size. This setting allows you to alter the opacity of the clip. Here is the control of rotation, specified in degrees. Positive values cause clockwise rotation, whereas negative values turn the frame anti-clockwise. Each property, except opacity, has these two slider controls designated Ease Out and Ease In. When checked, these cause the property values to change more slowly when close to the start or end of movement. The values can vary between 0 and 1. A higher value makes the effect more exaggerated. Now the keyframe timeline display area. This shows the clip timeline, and here is the actual time into the clip in hours, minutes, seconds and frames. The preview player is controlled here. This is the timeline scrubber control. It allows you to quickly scroll through the clip to check how the animation effects you are applying are working, and also to set the timeline to a particular frame. Here are all the attributes that can be changed. The top 4 are the most commonly used: position, scale, opacity, and rotation. The diamond shapes toggle keyframe symbols on and off, and the 2 arrows either side jump to the next or previous keyframe on that line. While we're looking at the PIP designer, it's worth mentioning the Chroma Key option. It's a very useful thing to use, especially when you're putting a moving object on top of a background image. Whatever colour you select, I'm using black here by the way, is rendered transparent so that the background shows through. A similar thing can be done by applying a mask to a clip, but this is fixed in position. Chroma Key is like having a continuously moving mask, easily allowing for object movements. Now let's have a look at the actual steps in the editor's PIP designer to set up the animation of the logo's central motif. Now here we are in the editor. Click on the clip, select PIP designer, and now we're into the PIP designer screen. First of all, we're going to deal with the scale. So I put a keyframe at time 0 in the clip, and I'm going to set the scale to 0 here. You see the clip goes down to invisibility. Then I'm going to move along to 1 second using the scrubber. Put a keyframe here, and at this point I'm going to make it 1 full size. Then we'll move the scrubber along to 1 second and 27 frames. Put another keyframe for the scale here, but the scale remains the same, so it stays at full size. Then we'll move along to the end of the movement, which is 5 seconds and 12 frames. Add another keyframe, and we'll make the size 0.69. So you can see what that looks like. So now we'll deal with the rotation. The rotation will start at 1 second and 27 frames. We'll put a keyframe at that point there, 1:27. So I'll just move to that point, put a keyframe for rotation, and we're starting at 0 degrees, which is okay. And then we go to the end of the movement, which is 5 seconds and 12 frames. Put another keyframe there, and we'll make the total rotation 4,320 degrees, or 12 full rotations. So let's have a look, see what that looks like. Right, so that's the scale and rotation done. Now we're going to do the position. Now the position starts at the default position 0.5, 0.5 for both X and Y. And we'll put a keyframe at the beginning there just to confirm that. Then we'll move along to, I think, 3 seconds and 4 frames is the appropriate place. There we are, put another position keyframe. Move to the 5 seconds 12 frames point. Put another keyframe there, and we'll move the position to X is 0.838 and Y 0.503, just slightly down. So let's see what that looks like. So that's all the movements that we require. The only thing I'd like to do now is to change the ease out and ease in settings for the rotation to make it look a bit more natural. To slow the start of the rotation and to slow it down as it comes into its final position. So we go to the rotation first keyframe and we will ease out and make it 0.6, I think, around about 0.6. Here we are. And then we go to the final keyframe for the rotation and we'll ease in at a 0.3 rate. Now, finally, let's look at what it looks like on the preview. Just what we wanted. Let's see that sequence again outside the editor. You'll see that the final position of the central motif matches its position on the straight line logo, which of course is what is required. Now we'll look at the sequence where the letters coalesce together in a straight line. Here it is slowed down 5 times. We'll have a look in the editor at how this was done. It's all based on this frame, the straight logo. At the end of the sequence, the name part only is used, the central motif is masked out and will be provided by the previously shown animation. Each of the 12 letters in the Sambassador's name is individually masked out and placed on 12 video tracks, as you can see here. Each track was chroma keyed using black so that the letters could intersect each other as they moved. Now let's have a look at just one of these tracks in the PIP designer. You'll see it has keyframes for position, scale and rotation. If I scroll along the timeline, you can see how the letter O is animated. It does 720 degrees, that's 2 full rotations, to get to its final position. Scale and XY positions at the end are the default values of X and Y equals 0.5 and the scale factor of 1.0. Now let's preview it at normal speed. Each letter has a random starting position, scale and rotation amount, and direction, so that the effect is one of order coming out of chaos. Now it's important to realise that rotation always occurs around an axis at the centre of a frame. See this watch face picture. As you can see, it is well offset from the centre of the frame. As I rotate it, you can see the axis of rotation is in the centre of the frame, as shown by the intersection of the 2 diagonals. Here's a watch face in the centre of the screen. That's the hour hand centrally placed. To make the watch face appear behind the hour hand, a mask is applied as shown here. All the pixels which were non-white in the hour hand picture were set to black, and this image used as the mask. Similarly, the minute hand, also centred as you can see, was masked. Now we can rotate the hour and minute hand frames, the minute hand 12 times faster than the hour hand, for a realistic effect. What happens if the watch face is off-centre? Well, we simply add a fixed X and Y offset to the minute and hour hand frames to recenter them on the watch face. Actually, you can make all 3 frames move using the keyframe technique to give this effect. I hope that this has maybe inspired some of you to try video animation yourself. The techniques shown should be available in most video editors.